To lose body fat, putting our attention on nutrition and diet is at least 80% of how we get there. It's confusing to know what foods to eat a lot of the time, and if it's so important, as we're told all the time, how to actually structure our nutrition so that we know how to eat for fat loss. If you're a person that wants to lose body fat or build muscle, subscribe to this channel right now, because that's the videos that we do here. And if you stay right to the end of this video, I'm actually going to tell you some foods that you need to avoid if you want to lose body fat. I will also give you a list of some foods you might want to try out for each category, meaning protein, fats and carbohydrates, so that you know some healthy foods that you can start out with. I don't want to waste any of your time, so it's going to be quite a quick video. So first of all, we need to talk about the method of eating. So for me, I like to do intermittent fasting. That doesn't mean you have to do that. If you like the keto diet, if you like the paleo diet, if you have something already that's working for you and you enjoy it and you like that, then carry on doing it. If you don't, then I recommend looking into intermittent fasting. But even if you don't want to do that, if you really are just starting out and you don't know what to do, stick to a simple 3 meals a day plan. You can tailor this to if you're a vegan or if you have different dietary requirements, such as you might be lactose intolerant. You have to obviously cut certain things out and bring certain things in to allow for that. The fitness industry is a confusing space. We have all these people telling us you have to do the keto diet, you have to do intermittent fasting, this is the only way, you can't do it any other way, that way is stupid, that way doesn't work, that science works, that science doesn't work. And really it's all bullshit, it's just people trying to sell you things. What the best diet is yes, a healthy diet, and that term's subjective, we'll talk about that in another video, but the best diet for you is the one that you can stick to. It's the one that you enjoy. So for me, the keto diet, if you do it correctly, is a healthy diet, but for me, I don't enjoy it. I've done the keto diet, I don't find it enjoyable, I find it too restrictive for me. For you, you might love it. It might simplify your nutrition and you might like that. So the best method of eating is the one that you can stick to, the one that you can stay consistent with for a long period of time. So like I said earlier, if you don't have a plan that's working for you, just do 3 meals per day. Have breakfast, have lunch and have dinner. Have breakfast as late as you can while not being hungry. I'm not trying to get you to do intermittent fasting by saying that, but obviously the later you eat breakfast, it allows less time between the other 2 meals so that you stay full. Then maybe at 2 p.m. or whenever you have a break at work or school, you might have your lunch, and then later in the evening you might have your dinner. So you would split your calories up for the day into those 3 meals. And if you want help on how to work out your calories so that you know how much to eat per day, then I do talk about that in my free ebook, which you can download down below. You need to test this for yourself, but I definitely recommend having a small breakfast, a medium-sized lunch, and then a big dinner at night. It's a myth that you will get fat if you eat big meals at night. That's totally not true. It's about how many calories you eat throughout the whole day, not right at the end of the day. Your body doesn't wait till the end of the day to decide whether you're going to get fat or not. It just does not work like that. It's a complete lie. The reason I say that is because when we cheat on our diets, it's always at night, almost all of the time. When somebody cheats on their nutrition plan, it's usually at night time. Most people don't cheat in the morning or midday, and so if you have that bigger meal or save most of your calories at night, then there's no reason to cheat, because you have the big meal, you're full, you're satisfied, you're happy with what you've eaten, and maybe you even throw a chocolate bar or something that is sweet that you enjoy after a meal. It's about eating healthy but enjoying what you're eating, because the people that restrict themselves too much never actually get where they want to go anyway, because they just end up binge eating. So if you like chocolate or you like a certain thing, have that just before bed, just after your meal. The idea of this is, obviously you might think, well, is that not going to make me fat? But the point is, by having something you enjoy every single day, it's going to allow you to stick to that plan. Whereas people that don't eat foods they enjoy, at the end of the week, they're going to be craving that food that much, they'll just eat thousands of calories worth of that specific food. Another thing as well is keep your protein and your fat high. Your carbs don't matter as much. Try to keep your fat and protein high. The reason I say that is protein obviously very important for building muscle and retaining muscle mass, but also for staying full. And the same goes for fat. Fat's very important for regulating testosterone and other hormones, but also it's very important for keeping you full. If you eat a low fat diet and a high carb diet, you're going to find yourself very, very hungry. Another thing you might notice is I said no snacks, it was just 3 meals. If you've structured your meals correctly, you shouldn't want to have any snacks. If you really do, then throw a snack in there, as long as it fits your calories for the day. But one thing I would say is ask yourself every single time you want to have a snack, am I doing it because I'm really, really hungry, or am I doing it because I'm bored? And a lot of the time you'll find you're actually eating just because you're bored and you have nothing to do, not actually because you're hungry. You might find when you're really busy, maybe you're at work, you don't even get hungry, you could go half the day without eating anything, but then when you're at home and you don't have anything to do, you keep eating all day. It's because you're bored, not because you're hungry. So you have to be mindful of that and actually have the discipline to stop yourself from doing it. And it's why I try not to snack as much as possible. Also, you get the insulin spike every single time you eat food, which is why snacking is not a good idea for fat loss. I will just cover insulin really quickly right now. Every time we eat, we spike insulin. The foods that spike insulin the most are carbohydrates and lean proteins, but mainly carbohydrates. That's the main thing that you should worry about really if you're trying to lose body fat, is spiking your insulin too much. But because every time we eat we spike insulin, having 3 meals a day is good. If we eat 6 meals a day, which we used to get told to eat 6 small meals a day, which some people still believe in, you're just spiking the insulin all the time. The reason you don't want to spike insulin is because insulin is an anabolic hormone. Anabolic means to build or to grow. So yes, it might help you build muscle, and that's why spiking your insulin is good for building muscle, but for losing body fat, it's also going to grow your fat cells. It will grow your muscle cells, but your fat cells will grow also. So the more times throughout the day we spike insulin, the worse it is for gaining body fat. Now you sort of understand the structure of how you're going to eat. You need to be in a caloric deficit if you're going to lose body fat. I'm just going to explain this really quickly. If you eat 2,000 calories per day and you don't gain any weight and you don't lose any weight, you stay exactly the same pretty much all year round, that means that's your maintenance calories. That means you'll maintain your weight at those calories per day, 2,000, and everybody's number will be different, and in the ebook I do talk about how to work that out. So if you was to then minus, let's say, 500 calories from that per day, so now you're eating 1,500 calories a day, you would lose body fat because your body needs the extra 500 calories. Your body doesn't just forget about the extra 500 that you've taken away. It will use your body fat, which is stored energy, stored calories, as fuel to get you through the day. If you do that over time, the body fat will obviously be reduced. Aim to lose about 1 pound of body fat per week, or maybe 2 pounds per week. Don't try to lose 10 or 12 or 4, just stick with the numbers I'm giving you. I know what I'm talking about. And as a quick calculation, try your body weight in pounds times 12. That's a rough idea of the calories you would need to eat per day. If you was 200 pounds, then you just times that by 12, so that would be 2,400 calories per day on average for you. So now you know your method of eating, your plan, and you also know how to be in a caloric deficit and what you need to do to lose body fat. I'm going to tell you now some foods that you probably want to avoid, and again, you can actually still fit some of these into your nutrition, but I would try to avoid them for the most part if you want to lose body fat. This is for the bonus tip that I promised. Foods that spike your insulin that you want to avoid for the most part, or as much as you can, are foods such as bread, white rice, and you can eat white rice. If you eat white rice with fats and proteins, then, which most of you will be doing, then it sort of brings that down and doesn't give you as much of an insulin spike. I'll put some foods on the screen right now that you might want to avoid, but anything like rice cakes, chocolates, sweets, anything with a lot of sugar is going to spike your insulin. And again, that doesn't mean that you can't ever have them, it just means you need to limit the amount that you have these foods. I'm going to now give you some of the foods for each category that I would consider eating. So proteins, fats and carbs. I'm going to start with the protein. If you're vegan or vegetarian, you don't eat meat, just go online and search for the best source of plant-based protein. But for most of us that are meat eaters, some of the good protein sources are chicken, grass-fed, grass-finished beef, pork, pasture-raised eggs, wild-caught salmon is good, and also a high quality whey protein powder is nice to throw in there as well. For your fats, which we talked about why important fats are earlier, olive oil is good, coconut oil is good, avocado is good, grass-fed butter is good, and almost any type of nuts, just not cashew nuts because they're not good for you. In fact, most people don't even know this. Cashew nuts are not even a nut, they're actually a bean. But almonds or Brazil nuts are definitely the way to go. My go-to carbohydrates, if you're eating carbohydrates, are sweet potatoes, oats. I do like to throw in some rice, and I also will occasionally throw in some pasta as well. I hope you got some value from this video. If you did, remember to subscribe, and I'll see you in the next video.